I don't need your quirk. It wouldn't fit well with Tomura's disposition. But it is now 10:10. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and get the formalities out of the way, shall we? Firstly, let me get this background out of the way. Yo, peoples, Kyushu92 here, and welcome back to yet another My Hero Academia chapter reaction and review. Last we left off, bad things happened. Toya woke back up and replicated the phosphor. Hold on. Last we left off, the villains started to circulate again. They started to make their moves. We saw Toya copy Shoto's phosphor move, which allowed him to have like fire going across his chest, and he erupted in flames and burned the sidekicks that were trying to, apprehend him while he was kind of unconscious. And then the chapter pretty much ended with All For One fully regenerating. Like back to the way he was originally, reversing back to before he was left massively scarred by All Might. So let's go ahead and get started with today's chapter. And it cuts to Dr. Garaki, where the same doctor that worked on Shigaraki. Shigaraki stole those refined... Hold on. Sorry about that. Kenzo wanted to be a little bit louder than necessary. I really do need to soundproof my door. Shigaraki stole those refined samples of the chemical that the Shie Hasaikai developed for destroying quirk factors. It came to me, and I wasted no time in trying to replicate it. Turns out the substance originated from a person's quirk. Ain't that a hoot? Like you're always saying, fate brings everything full circle. During the refining process, I started focusing not on the deleter rounds, but on the quirk's original effect. And I've gotta say, my doomsday theory was right on the money. You only get one shot, and one and done. Assuming things go according to plan and you get to walk free again, I'm betting it'll help make your dream come true. And then it cuts to All For One as he's standing in front of his new mask. It's standing in front of his new mask that he had before this big battle started. And just in case I'm not around when you get out of the big house, I'm leaving it all in this safe house along with the data. Allow me to speak my mind. Your voice, your eyes, your smile bring joy to my heart. And if I had one wish, I'd ask that your own heart be filled with hate. And then it shows All For One standing in front of his new mask that he was fighting with, along with the vial that gave him back his body, as he goes, "Be proud, Endeavor. I never thought you'd be the one forcing me to play this card." And it shows Endeavor in the air. Now, mind you, his entire body is regenerating. Endeavor basically burned all the clothes off of All For One. He basically burned him down. So he's regenerating, but he's also in the buff as well. And then Endeavor's going, "He's rejuvenated. His body is back to prime condition." And then it shows Jiro and Tsukuyomi going, "Little Aries power?" And then it shows Hawks dive bombing close to where All For One is as he goes, "This is bad." And then it cuts to All For One as he's floating down. Like he's floating back down through the air. Body still smoking and still burning. As he's thinking, My body feels as light as silk. And then he just, as soon as he hits the ground, he immediately dashes over to one of the heroes and grabs onto them and starts robbing them of basically their capes, and like in a split second, the dude is fast. The dude is massively fast. He ripped apart so many heroes' capes and wove them into his own clothes to stand there as he starts to rob one of them of their quirks. Ah, my quirk! I'll take the cape too. While I'm at it, fighting in the buff is hardly my style. And then it cuts to Hawks as he tries to hit All For One. I can't believe we're dealing with an All For One who's fully regenerated. I can't believe this is the world we live in now. I can't believe we're in a world where the most evil individual, the biggest boss of the entire series, has completely regenerated his entire body back to its prime. We're in that world now. But Hawks comes in and swoops and grabs the one hero who was getting their quirk stolen by All For One. And then All For One goes, "This bit of rewinding will be the end of me. I'm ultimately doomed to vanish now. But my dream will live on as I pass the baton to Tomura Shigaraki. The only task left to me is to rescue him from your brazen trap. So if you don't mind." Oh, wait. He says, "This bit of rewinding will be the end of me." Wait, he's in his prime, but it's a one-shot. I know what he means by, wow, I understand it now. It's not just rewinding him back to his prime and then stopping him. It's just rewinding him all the way until he's no more. Until he rewinds himself out of existence. This was... Wow. So not only are we're dealing with an All For One who's in his prime, but who's also on borrowed time. Hold on. But this bit of rewinding will be the end of me. I'm ultimately doomed to vanish now. But my dream will live on as I pass the baton to Tomura Shigaraki. The only task left to me is to rescue him from your brazen trap. So if you don't mind. And then Hawks is thinking, a massive yet suicidal power-up. Endeavor just needs to deliver one more solid blow. So, and then Hawks goes, "Your dream, huh? Something beyond stealing one for all? Mind filling me in for future reference?" It's simple. I'm quite influenced by comics. The world always fears the big bad villain. Why do you think that is? 'Cause he does bad stuff? And what counts as bad stuff? In a world teeming with myriad cultures and values, bad stuff would be an act that universally makes the masses turn up their noses in disgust. An act which thwarts the future they envision. So I intend to thwart the future of the whole world. That's all I ever wished for. And then it cuts to wow! It cuts to the United States! It cuts to the United States in Washington, D.C. This is the moment to strike. If we don't definitively eliminate Tomura now, the U.S. will face the danger he poses. And then these are officials talking to the President of the United States. And how would we rein in this crisis? Unlike most others, our nation has already taken half a step into the red zone. And you're to blame, Timothy Agpar. Agpar. Someone was watching Star Wars when they made this character. Because Agpar reminds me of Akbar. According to reports from the quirk research agencies, Tomura is already beyond anything humanity can stop. An unknowable, untouchable entity capable of just about anything. You faced that monster and made it clear that we're his enemy, via Star and the missiles. You're saying we should appease him instead? There's already a standoff between the world's developed nations, as we wonder who will be the first to earn Tomura's trust. Think about how we should let him rule over us. thinking about how we should let him rule over us? That's insanity! Only to minimize casualties, to feel him out before a more decisive strike. Give that monster even an inch, and he'll take a mile. We'll be neutered. Tim, this is for our nation's future. We won't have a future! Your position's forcing you to take this stance. And then it shows Akbar taking something out of his coat pocket, as the special agents, like the Secret Service, says, "Easy there, Mr. Akbar." And then they look at the president, and the president is all like, "No, don't worry about it, it's fine." Because apparently Akbar takes out a photo. Do you know what Star really was fighting for? Why do you think Cassie followed in her idol's footsteps and died for it? I'm sure you haven't really forgotten. And what was in his jacket pocket was a picture of a young All Might holding up a young Cassie. Children observe adults as they grow. Adults in turn support the children as they pass it forward, and so on to the next generation. And it shows Star walking up to All Might, and he's holding out his hand to her. And then she looks back, and she holds out her hand. And then it cuts back to Bakugo and Best Jeanist. Adults in turn support the children as they pass it forward, and so on to the next generation. Heroes have always wielded their power in the name of that cause. And it cuts to, so yeah, it was, you guys were right. You guys were right, and my suspicions were correct as well. Because Best Jeanist is using his fibers to do something to Bakugo, as Edge Shot is right next to him. And then Best Jeanist goes, Edge Shot. And then Edge Shot goes, yes, I am the ninja hero. There is no realm I can't infiltrate, and I have ample experience invading the bodies of others. This is no time to lie down and die. And then it shows... Edge Shot going into Bakugo's body. And then it has someone screaming out, Mirko! Do not go quietly! Who is that? Is that still Edge Shot saying that, or someone else? And then it shows Mirko, who's still in the grip of Shigaraki. But someone is saying, Mirko! Do not go quietly! Should he tear you asunder, sink your teeth into his flesh! And then Tomura goes, so pointless. Because Edge Shot the hero will not let this pass. This stopped heart belongs to a life we can ill afford to lose! And then it cuts to Edge Shot as he goes, I am not too late. I shall replace what's missing and make it pump. And then it cuts to Best Jeanist going, Kamihara, there's no coming back from this for you. Just so, I leave the rest in your capable hands, Club President Hakamada. Wow. 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 And it shows Edge Shot when he was younger sitting with Best Jeanist. And even back then, Best Jeanist always had something covering his mouth. But the last panel we get is Ninpo, Thousand Sheet Pierce Zenith. I will be the boy's heart. Wow. Edge Shot is breaking himself down using his quirk to become Bakugo's new heart. So what's missing in Bakugo's heart? Edge Shot is going to become what's missing. There's no coming back from this for you. So he's going to become Bakugo's new heart. And that's the end of the chapter. We're not going on break from this. Oh my goodness. But let me just acknowledge everyone in the chat right now. Ali, Julian, Looney, Midoriya. All for One is not getting a power-up is quite contrary. Aries' power is going to end him. Shigaraki is the new All for One. Well, I know that. I mean, I kind of pretty much picked that up. I pretty much picked that up in when the story explained it to me. So I know that much. When he said he wants Tomura to be the next him, that's what he meant. But he didn't expect to use that trump card of Aries' quirk that is not, it's brought him back to his prime. But he's in a state where right now where he's on borrowed time, where he's going to rewind out of existence, and Tomura is going to be the only vestige of All for One left. In all honesty, I'm surprised All for One knew about Eri. Thought it would be a huge moment where he finds out. All for One takes liking the villain more than the main character to a whole new level. He really does. He really does, especially with his mannerisms. I'm back. I'm front. Heyo. Wouldn't it be interesting if Edshot's personality merges with Bakugo? I don't know. All for One didn't have to take that girl's quirk along with her cape. He's rewinding so that it's just going to disappear. He just can't help himself being cruel for no reason. Exactly. And then Julian says, "Wow, why do they revive Bakugo? The series is ruined." Bro, this is a shonen. Almost no one dies in a shonen, just like the main character always gets a power up. See, here's the thing, and I'm going to talk about this chapter for a little bit. So, now we know that Bakugo is not in permanently dead territory because Edshot is willing to give up himself in order to bring Bakugo back. I don't know to what extent this Ninpo Thousand Needles Zenith is going to do to Edshot, but this is like a pretty much like a one-way trip for him. But he was banking on Tomura taking out All for One Prime, but he may be rewind out of existence by that point. See, here's my thing. Let me look this up. MHA 364. Let me look this chapter up real quick. Because I want to see what the synopsis says, so that way we can bring all of our thoughts together as one. Going down here. Let's see. After first arriving at the secret underground cave following the escape from Tartarus, I do this a lot. I do raise my hand a lot. I'm noticing that. Following the escape from Tartarus, All for One discovers a pre-recorded message from Dr. Kyudai Garaki explaining how Tomura got a hold of the quirk-destroying drug created by the Shie Hasaikai, which he immediately attempted to reproduce. He explains how the original came from someone's quirk, which he finds fascinating, and using it to confirm the validity behind the quirk's singularity. He continues that rather than the quirk-destroying part, he focused on its original effect during his recreation. He cautions All for One he can only use it once, but that once he's freed, he's sure it'll help him achieve his dream. He provided him with his new mask and the drug in the safe house as a contingency if something were to happen to him after his jailbreak. Ending by saying that his voice, eyes, and smile bring joy to his heart, and he wishes his heart to be filled with hate. In the present, the regenerating All for One gleefully tells Endeavor to be proud, not thinking he'd have to play the card against him, while Tsukuyomi recognizes it as Aries' quirk. With how light his body feels, All for One swiftly makes his way down to the battlefield, stealing the quirk off of a nearby hero, as well as their cape to cover his nudity. Hawks quickly pushes the hero away, while All for One states that after using the drug's rewind effect, he's doomed to vanish, but since his dream has already been passed on to Tomura, he intends to rescue him from the hero's trap before he's gone. Hawks figures that due to his self-sacrificial current state, if Endeavor can get one more blow in, he can finish things. So tries to buy some time by asking All for One what is his dream after obtaining One for All. All for One explains that he was influenced by comic books, and asks Hawks why villains are feared over the world. Hawks responds it's because they do bad things, but All for One states that in a world full of different cultures and values, those bad things would be an action would be an action that the masses react to in disgust. It is something that thwarts the vision, the future they envision. It is because of this that All for One wants to thwart the future of the world, as it's all he's ever wished for. In Washington, D.C. in America, Timothy Agpar, these names, approaches the president, telling him it's time to strike Tomura or their country will be in danger. However, the president points out that America is already further into the red zone than other countries due to Timothy's actions. He's the one that allowed Star and Stripe to get sent over to Japan, so they kind of made the first strike. He continues that according to their reports, actually, let me do this. Let me pop out this chat so I can see you guys while I'm also reading this, because I want to respond to your comments as well. And someone says, who says this? Modest Circle says, it's crazy how many people got upset over this chapter. Oh, did they get upset that Bakugo isn't staying dead? Is that the deal? Is that the reason why people are getting upset? People need to grow up and realize that this is not their story. What they want to happen is probably not going to happen unless Horikoshi wills it to. Can I say this real quick? I don't get why people get mad and upset over how a story goes that they're not writing. People do realize, and I don't mean you guys, but I mean these people out in the world right now that get mad and upset that a story that they have absolutely no influence over, no say in, and are not even writing, they have issues when it doesn't go the way their fan theories go or their hopes and dreams. How are you going to get upset over a story that you're not writing? I've never understood that. I don't understand that. How are people going to get upset over a story that does not involve you? And this is not to, like I said, this is not to anyone here in my chat right now, but this is for people that seem to think that I don't like this chapter, therefore the story is bad. This chapter wasn't written for you then. The same thing I say about Oda, and the same thing I say about Horikoshi, and the same thing I say about basically any other mangaka that's out there right now. They're not subject to us. They write this stuff for us, but they're not subject to us. They don't have to look at your little fan theories and think like, that seems cool. Let me put that in my story just to appease this one person. People need to grow up and realize, I'm sorry if I'm going on a rant right now, but this just really annoys me how people behave over something they have no control over. Because people have to be mad about something, I don't know. People need to grow up. That's what people need to do. People need to grow up and enjoy the story while we got it. We don't have to get My Hero Academia, but we are. So you should be grateful we're even getting it at all. Ungrateful little children who still don't get their parents' permission before going online. Let me continue. Timothy Agpar approaches the president, telling him it's time to strike Tomura or their country will be in danger. However, the president points out that America is already further into the red zone. Maybe getting upset is too much, but not liking it is valid. Yes, you can not like something. It's okay to not like something. I love One Piece. In and out. I love My Hero Academia. In and out. But not everyone loves it. Not everyone likes it. That's valid. But getting upset over something happening in a story because it didn't happen the way you thought it should happen, that's childish. Very childish. However, the president points out that America is already further in the red zone than other countries due to Timothy's actions. He continues that according to their reports, Tomura has reached a point beyond human control, and that no matter what happens, he's untouchable, reminding him how they already tried and failed confronting him through Star and Stripe and their missiles. Timothy realizes their plan is to try and appease themselves to Tomura, with the president stating that the other nations have already been trying to see who can gain Tomura's trust first. So other countries have pretty much already given up. They just want to see who they can cater. They're just basically looking at other countries, seeing who will be able to get his favor first and become the new favorite. You figured it out. The internet is full of children. I know. Timothy greatly objects to even the idea of being ruled over and robbed of everything they have, as the president defends that it is for the future of their nation, with Agpard yelling they won't have a future. Pulling out a picture of a young Star and Stripe with All Might, Timothy laments over what she died for and why she followed in his footsteps. He reminds the president that children observe the adults growing up. The adults support them, and in turn they pass this forward to the next generation. It is why the heroes wield their power in the name of this cause. Back at the UA Flying Fortress, Edgeshot approaches Best Jeanist and the unconscious Dynamite, saying that as the ninja hero, he has crept into so many bodies and is familiar with it all, using his quirk to stick his body into Dynamite's. He calls out to Merkel, telling her to continue to struggle, and declaring that the heart that stopped is a life that they cannot afford to lose. Edgeshot says that he will fill in for whatever's lacking in Dynamite's heart, and as Best Jeanist warns him he won't be able to come back from it, he responds that he will leave the rest to him, referring to him as Club President Hakamada. Thinking back to their time at UA, Edgeshot unleashes his Ninbom 1000-sheet Pierce Zenith, declaring that he will become Dynamite's heart. Now, the thing about this, the description of this quirk is 1000-sheet Pierce is simply called, the regular version of it is called 1000-sheet Pierce. What we're seeing is a new one. The description of this quirk, of this ability, ultimate move, is Edgeshot flattens and twists himself into a pointed string and then pierces his opponent before cutting off their blood flow and knocking them unconscious. Edgeshot first used this technique to knock Kurogiri unconscious and later to fight back against attacking Nomu. He later used it against the Paranormal Liberation Front member. So this is a variation of his ultimate move. So he intends to become Bakugo's new heart. Because here in the notes it says, "Stop moving," webpage. Dang. Edgeshot prepares to use his quirk to enter Dynamite's body and repair his heart, even at the cost of his own life. So yeah, he's willing to give up his own life in order to bring Bakugo back. What a chapter. What a chapter. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I enjoyed it. I don't know about people out there who pretty much have an issue with it, couldn't care less about how they feel about it. If anyone who was complaining about bad writing would stop to think about what kind of story Horikoshi has consistently been writing since the beginning, they know this was the only logical conclusion. They're the ones who's not paying attention, not Horikoshi. Exactly. People tend to read some of these chapters at face value, and if the chord strikes them, then it just destabilizes the entire narrative as a whole. But this isn't Game of Thrones, and this isn't Season 8 of Game of Thrones. We have an actual we have an actual person who knows how to write versus D&D that just destroyed every single bit of character development that Game of Thrones had at the beginning. This is the opposite of that. We actually have someone who actually wants to keep the character development and story consistent. That's the difference. You was reading some of the chapters ahead of the Season 6 release, and Edgeshot used it to pierce multiple holes in the crown of people's lungs to disable them. Haven't lost any sleep over it, it's just a story. Exactly. This is not something that people should be losing sleep over. If I don't like something in a chapter, you don't see me tossing and turning like... Stars and Stripes only lasted 4 chapters. Why couldn't she have gone longer? You don't see me tossing and turning. You don't see me complaining about like, wow, she was only for a couple of chapters. She was here as long as she needed to be. Stuff like that. So it's not that serious. It's a fictional story. Just let it go. It's not a big deal. I mean, sure, I made a case of saying how dumb it is to get upset over things that happen in this story that don't appeal to people, but it's just a story. Star and Stripe should have lasted longer, though. Horikoshi's seen her needing to be in the chapter she only needed to be in. That's fine enough for me. But overall, I like this chapter. But now, for me, she died in one read-through since you wasn't caught up at the time. So to you, it ended very, very quickly. I see, Karma. I see. But all I can say is I'm still immensely enjoying the story of My Hero Academia. And it's going to be the only reaction we get next week because One Piece is going on break after the last ultimate chapter that we just got. So I'm looking forward to seeing what goes on from here as Edgeshot prepares to repair Bakugo's heart, get him up and running again, and then see where things go from here. See if the other heroes are able to keep Prime All For One from trying to get to Tomura in order to free him. Because All For One is on borrowed time. He knows it. So the quicker he can get away from the heroes and get over to where Tomura is, the better he'll be able to enact his plan before he just disappears completely. So we're just going to have to see. Overall, good chapter. Exactly. Tossing, turning over a story you don't have to read doesn't make sense, but causing others to toss a turn because you won't let them just enjoy things is another. Exactly. And then not just for stories, it goes for games and everything else. Because I know for me, a good example is like, I cannot stand Marvel's Avengers. But at the same time, I keep an eye on it because there's some glimmer of hope that maybe can get better in the future. But you don't see me going around telling people, oh, you're playing this game? You have bad taste in games. You don't see me saying that. Now, I will clown the game, and I have been incredibly harsh on the game for all these 2 years. But I'm not going to go back and tell people like, wow, you're garbage if you play this game. Oh, I don't like this game, you shouldn't like it either. I will point out its flaws and let you do with that information what you will. But I'm not going to just, try and force people to see it my way just because I personally don't like something. That's just an example. I think Dabi is going to somehow get to Gunga Mountain where All For One is and Endeavor is at. People projecting their wands on another writer's story, then throwing a hissy when they don't get what they want will always baffle me. Immature and attention-seeking and narcissistic. Exactly, Char. Exactly. And those are the worst kinds of fans. I'm a fan until you do something that I don't like. Then I'm going to make sure that everyone knows that I don't like what I didn't like. They never keep it to themselves. They have to let everyone know how much they don't like this one thing. Fools speak up because they want to say something. But wise people only speak up because when they have something to say. I know it sounds weird, but it makes sense. Fools are always the loudest, but the wise ones always are quiet until it's necessary for them to speak. But it's always the loud ones that are always saying like, this is bad. I'm going to tell you why this is bad. And if you like it, then you're bad too. Like, But, Dabi making his way to Gunga Mountain. Like, he's still thinking about Endeavor, though. I feel like I feel like he's still trying to make his way back to Endeavor. What if All For One Prime steals Endeavor's quirk, and then he just fades away into nothing, and then Endeavor's quirk is just straight up gone? Those are some things to think about. Hold on. Actually, you know what? I'll save this for later. I gotta grab myself some food after I'm done here. It does make sense. I believe that wholeheartedly. Yeah, I heard that a long time ago when I was still in elementary school, and it's stuck in my mind. That's the reason why I'm very careful about what I say. Because I don't want to say the same thing, but I also don't want to seem like the type of person that has to say something in order for people, look at me, or whatever. Even though I'm on a platform where I kind of do that a lot. Still not the same, though. But you understand. But now we got a bit of a game plan as to what All For One is planning to do. And then Endeavor has to face Dabi without his quirk. It's like, ooh, that's something to think about. If All For One were to steal Endeavor's quirk, then he would have to face off against Dabi without it. Just a random thought. Endeavor losing his quirk would be a fantastic way to end his arc if he does end up living. It would be an interesting take, but we'll have to see what angle Horikoshi goes down and see if there's any validity behind it. We're just gonna have to be patient and wait. Good Lord, I love this series because I get to have long conversations like this with all of you. I feel like I can talk more on like a slightly not philosophical level, but a psychological level when it comes to characters in my. Sorry, a lot of burps. I feel like I can talk more on a psychological level about this story than I can One Piece. I can talk about One Piece for hours just from the characters, but I can talk about My Hero Academia for hours just based on the characters' mindsets and how they behave and how it affects the world around them. It's so easy for me to talk about it with this story because it touches on so many good topics and even mature topics that other series would shy away from because, we got to be careful what we say, but Horikoshi is not scared to bring up very mature themes in this story, but also make it make sense. It's really good. It's really well put together. I myself feel like this story and everything that's revolving around it is well put together. The characters, the world they reside in, their actions within it, and the cause and effects that happen within this story. I enjoy every bit of it. It's good to me. I don't know about y'all, but it's good to me. But that's where I'm going to call it a session for today because I need to go ahead and get myself some food. Man, all the people that showed up today, man, I guess my channel is getting bigger. You love the psychological and sociological aspects of MHA. It's one of my absolute favorite things about it. It's one of my favorite things about it too, Midoriya. Bloody Clash! Hey, to you as well! Unfortunately, you're coming in on the tail end of my stream. We had a good talk about today's chapter. We got a good feeling. We got some ideas about what is going on right now and where it could possibly go forward. But we're gonna have to wait until next week to see next week to see where Horikoshi goes. Popeyes, you want some Popeyes? I haven't had my bourbon bacon cheeseburger meal in a hot minute because I've been eating other things. I had Olive Garden the other day, and then I had 12-count nuggets from Chick-fil-A, but I haven't had my bourbon bacon cheeseburger meal in a minute. You're old and always late. No, don't worry about it, Clash. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine. You're all right. Don't even worry about it. But to everyone who is here in my stream today, firstly, thank you. You guys make this, not only this stream, but my channel as a whole, so much fundamentally better just by your presence being here. And I appreciate it. All my supporters who are out there, subscribers, moderators, members, and super chatters who, when it does happen, I just have to say, I am immensely grateful and humbled by your support of this channel. This channel is getting bigger, and I just want to say thank you for making that a reality. I don't need to say as I'm working on pursuing this full-time, as I'm enjoying my full-time occupation. It is amazing how much love I get from you guys just from your comments and you showing up. It really does mean a lot to me. It may not seem like a lot, you just saying hi or just popping in or even just liking the video. I'm just grateful for all of you. This channel would not be where it is without you, and I'm just grateful for you all. All right, I'm done with the semantics. I'm done with the lovey-dovey. I'm done with the mushy-gushy. Time for me to get something to eat and then just relax the rest of the day and catch up on some videos that I haven't really been able to finish. All I can say at the end of the day is, hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. And if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed what you saw here today, then like, subscribe, and maybe even consider becoming a member because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day, and once again, as always, later, peoples. I'm gonna get myself some food and then just chill. It's a good Sunday, you know?